Okay, hello! Hi. Smile. We started playing this. It's about curses and Japanese things. In the last game, we found out, in the last one that we played, we found out some stuff. One, that we have to kind of figure out why everybody's getting their, like, heads exploded and shit. Due to a killer with a curse stone. There's timeline weird shit happening. Yes, it's a visual novel. And there's a lot going on. We'll fill you in as we go through. But yeah. Arnav Barnum, a cheerful fantasy author, sets off on a trip to visit the mermaid legends of Issa Bay with his relative Circe Lunarlight as his guide. Okay. So, let's learn about mermaid curses. After much hustle and bustle, we finally managed to make our way to Issa Bay. Nice. Take it all in now. We're staying on the coast of Nakabeppo in Mie Prefecture's Kawage town. Which means this is the Sea of Issa, the connection to the eternal world. How amazing. So, these guys are here. They're searching for mermaids. And, like, a bunch of people are searching for mermaids because apparently you get immortality. And one of the immortal, like, mermaid eaters is somebody that is in the game. It's odd. Okay? Indeed it is. Come, Circe. Circe. Henceforth begins our grand adventure in search of the mystery of Issa Bay. How amazing. I just can't stop saying it. Without further ado, my name is Arnav Barnum, an American-born fantasy author. Please call me Avi. Who are you introducing yourself to, weirdo? Oh, I just thought a new beginning called for a little dramatic flair, don't you? Sure. With that out of the way, perhaps my darling guide can provide some insight into the goings-on of this locale. Sure, I've got you covered. Okay. So we're going to learn about the games. Do you say Asabe? No, it's Issa. It's like, I don't know how to put it, right? So because it's a Japanese game, have there been any pedophiles yet? Shockingly enough, no. It seems like kind of no, unless you think 21 and 17 makes somebody a pedophile. But technically, that 21 was going after a 400-year-old sacrifice victim. So, who has the body of a 17-year-old. Make of that what you will, okay? So, you know. Think. We've come all this way to distant foreign lands seeking mermaids. Of course, I have my own reasons for trying to locate the mystical creatures. But for now, I intend to scour this land in order to learn as much as I can about its lore and legends. It occurs to me that I never actually explained the particulars of my Issa Bay mermaid excursions to the girl. No matter, it's nothing of consequence, really, so I'll introduce my reasons a little bit at a time. Okay. We're scanning around, surroundings. Well, this area is now called Nakabeppo. Long ago, it was a region of Issa province known as Bet-Suho. Records indicate that 3 mermaids were caught in a fisherman's net along this coast back in the Heian period. Now that's what I'm talking about. Let's hear more about those mermaids. They had human heads with the mouths of monkeys and teeth and bodies of fish, and they spoke and even shed tears like humans. Could this be the fish mermaids you mentioned before, Avi? Indubitably. Yeah, this must be the place. I'm getting goosebumps. Right? I feel the same way. It's so exciting. So it toes the line? Kinda. Kinda. So far, at least. Right? I don't have, like, a lot of hope, right? Just to be clear, but, you know. Sorta. Surroundings again. The endless expanse of the Issa Sea, the external world may lie just beyond this horizon. After all, Issa Province is the land whither repair the waves from the eternal world. The eternal world is purported to be a perpetual paradise, a separate plane from the world we live in, yeah? Could it be that mermaids hail from such a place? Could it be? Okay. Talk about this place. Kawage Town might be located right next to the Mie Prefecture's modern capital, Sioux City, but there's something you have to keep in mind. This is also the birthplace of Hyeki, a branch of the Heian period's preeminent Terra clan. If you're going to talk about Issa Province, you absolutely have to mention the Hyeki. I do have a passing understanding of the topic. The Hyeki took part in the Genpei War, correct? That's right, that was the war in which in the Heian period where two great samurai families, the Minamoto and Taira, locked horns and really got into it. Among the Hyeki, Taira no Kiyomori was a particularly famous fighter who appears in many creative works concerning the event. His father, Taira no Tadamori, was one responsible for securing the Haika High School's standing. So Tadamori was Kiyomori's father, right? With names like that, how can anyone hope to keep them straight? True. Absolutely true. That's history for you. I'm afraid you just have to memorize them. I suppose you're right about that. Then memorize them I shall. Apparently, Tadamori was born in Sioux City in a place called Umashina. So that's why they call this area the birthplace of the Hyeki. Okay. Alright. Well, let's keep talking to her. Talk about the place. This is the metropolitan center of Mie, a locus of historical events. I guess that makes it a perfect place to start a new journey. Talk about Betsuho mermaids. Getting back to the mermaids you mentioned, what became of the three that were caught in the fishing nets? At that time, the lord of this area was Taira no Tadamori. You didn't already forget him, did you? Well, the fisherman thought the mermaids were a fascinating find, so he placed two of them into boxes and presented them to Tadamori. Oh, Lord Tadamori must have been well pleased by that. How could he not be? It was known that eating the flesh of mermaids grants eternal life. Actually, Tadamori evidently said they were disturbing and gross and refused to accept them. Whoa. What a waste. However, I need to finish this cereal, man. Hell yeah. Okay. However, the fisherman caught up the remaining mermaid and ate it himself. So, what happened to him? Well, the fisherman said it was pretty tasty. Well, now, tasty is it? And that's all I've got. That's it? That's all I can find in existing records. Then the act of eating a mermaid's flesh alone may not produce any results. I suppose then there would be other requisite conditions, wouldn't you say? Well, considering the sheer number of eyewitness reports concerning mermaids, it's odd that there aren't more immortals walking around. There don't seem to be any records about what happened to the mermaids that Tadamori refused to accept. I suppose it's possible some of the Heike clan snuck off with them. Now it's a hypothesis I can get behind. Talk about the Heike. I've put together an assortment of files concerning the Heike, so feel free to give them a look if you're interested. You have my heartfelt gratitude. Now let's look at our files. Okay. So the Nukamara is the person that's like the sword. Betsuho, old name for the area that we're in. Okay. And then Sioux City. Okay. Alright, fair enough. There's one thing I should warn you about, though. Oh? This group sometimes gets referred to as the Issa Terra as well, which may make things a little confusing. I'll go ahead and label it all as Heike. Does it really matter? Aren't they basically the same thing? Not exactly. You see, the term Issa Terra refers to the Terra clan as a whole because it originates in Issa. On the other hand, people generally refer to the family within the clan that included Tadamori and Kiyomori as simply the Heike. Their family features prominently in the stories we're interested in, so I'll use Heike most of the time. Plus, it has a nice ring to it. Either way, it works for me, so do as you like. The Tale of Heike also used Heike. You're awfully particular about this, but I rather like that kind of fastidiousness. Anyway, after a number of events, the Haika would go down to lose the battle of Dan no Ura and be completely eradicated. I believe I know this one. Dan no Ura is found in Kyushu, is it not? Bingo. The clan was chased out of Kyoto and pushed further and further west until they were eventually wiped out there. It pains me to think of such a resplendently glorious clan being such an ignominious end. More's the pity. That's why the Haika's resentment is particularly strong, and many remnants of it remain even today. Shrines and monuments have been erected throughout this land in an attempt to quell that resentment. And now we reach your particular field of expertise. Because the clan fell from such an exalted position so abruptly, that resentment is exceptionally persistent and quite pervasive. That said, famous places related to people like Terra no Kiyomori are well attended by worshippers, so they're relatively stable. It's the puffed up and pretentious Haika clan members that no one even remembers who caused the most trouble. I seem to recall a number of individuals going so far as to claim that those outside the Haika clan could not be considered human. But that's the case, are we really safe out here? You don't think we might find ourselves assailed by these lingering grudges? Much of the Issa province is protected by shrines, and the area is suffused with spiritual energy, so we're probably safer here than most places. But that's just the land itself. Objects or people that resentment has seeped into are a different story altogether. That's somewhat troubling to hear. So yeah, they're looking for an artifact as well, right? Either way you look at it, this region is still home to many places and things associated with the Haika. Excellent. I believe I got a grasp of the situation at hand. It's time we made our way to the next locale. We're on the clock after all. Let's get to it. Okay. Ano Town. Date unknown. Morning. Ano Town. Kusawa. Well, it would seem that we've arrived, and where are we now, Circe? This is an area in Ano Town known as Kusawa. Kusawa is quite famous because of the Yao Bikuni legend. I'd be surprised if there's anyone who hasn't heard of it. I'm sorry to say I've never heard of it. We actually, so, Osate, or Sade, isn't the bikini person. But they are definitely knew the person, I think. Sorry to say I've never heard of it. Wait, really? Come now, don't act so shocked. You can't expect me to know every little thing, and besides, I'm not even from this country. The very reason I requested you to be my guide was so you could teach me about things like this. I guess that's true. Okay, I understand. I'll be counting on your explanations. Okay. The fabled beauty of the serene Japanese countryside. It really is charming. The incessant chirping of locusts combined with unrelenting heat. This is Japanese summer, alright? It's fascinating to think that such a peaceful place can be found home to such profound historical events. I'm practically jittering with excitement. I can see that. Let's try and keep a cool head, shall we? Alright, so we looked at that. We also gotta look for stickers, right? This is like the... yeah, right there. Nice. Based. Alright. We are doing good on the stickers front, dude. We did miss the Discovering a Mermaid sticker. I know where we have to go back for that, at least, so... nice. Sick. Alright. Nailed that shit. Let's go. Alright, the Legend of Yao Bikuni. The Legend of Yao Bikuni originated here in Kusawa, Ano Town. Long, long ago, a 17-year-old girl named Osato lived in this village. She unknowingly ingested the meat of a mermaid that was served during the village gathering and became immortal. After subsequently being persecuted by the other villagers, she became a nun and made a pilgrimage around the entire country. At the end of the story, she eventually returned to this village and lived out the rest of her long life. Tales told in other parts of the country play out in almost the exact same fashion. Yeah, I guess that's true. This young lady is a distant relative of mine, the third daughter of the Lunar Light family. Lunar Lights have been in the business of demonic exorcism in England for several generations now. As such, young Circe has received education on this rare subject from a young age and is now an apprentice exorcist. In order to continue her training, or more likely simply because of her interest in the area, Circe has come to Japan to study abroad. Upon hearing such news, I sought to employ her as my guide for this mermaid hunting expedition in Issa Bay. She is apparently quite fond of Japanese myths and folktales and has already explored a number of areas connected with the occult. Interested in visiting Mie Prefecture at least once during your stay, she immediately agreed to my request. Okay. As far as the girl's concerned, I suppose I could be considered a guardian of sorts. Even so, I often find myself caught up in her pace and completely thrown off guard. If anyone should be shaking things up around here, it ought to be me. The Legend of Yaokini. The Legend of Yao, the girl who ate the flesh of the mermaid that lived for 800 years, has been passed down all over Japan. Not only here in Mie Prefecture's Ana town, but in Fukui, Aichi, and Gifu prefectures as well. And told the story has been found in 121 locations in 28 prefectures around the country. Or at least that's what certain research has indicated. Doesn't that seem like a lot? Was there really that many different Yabakunis out there? Obviously not all the legends can be true, but I actually have a theory on the subject. Would you like to hear it? No. Most of the legends refer to a woman who stopped aging and lived for 800 years after consuming the meat of a mermaid. At that point, because others would find it strange that she wasn't getting any older, she wasn't able to live in normal society anymore. I suppose that would be natural. It would explain why she withdrew from the world and became a nun. Exactly, and that's how she got the name Yabakuni, the 800-year-old Bikuni nun. With 800 years in her hand, she could have easily made a pilgrimage around the entire country. How interesting, Buddhist priests are known for trekking throughout the land as a form of ascetic training. And if we consider the 121 locations where the legend was found and 800 years to spare, she could have spent 6 years in each location. 6 years would be certainly enough time for her to make a name for herself in each and every location, right? Well, my dear, I believe I see what you're getting at. Your theory posits that the stories of Yobakuni have been passed down to every corner of the country, all refer to the same individual. Now, it might be a bit much to say that all of them are the same. There may have been a few different people, but it's more convincing than the theory that there were 121 people. I also think Yao of Wakasa province is most likely the origin of the legend. I wonder. Don't all the different instances of the story throughout Japan also claim that particular location is their place of final rest? That may be true, but I assume that each of those different places wanted to have a grave or some other tangible marker to base the legend on. But would so many people that are purported to have lived for 800 years all die around the same time? It seems unlikely. Then he believes some of the tales were embellished somewhat. That sort of thing happens all the time. Legends are always mixtures of truth and fantasy. Moreover, it doesn't make sense that every single immortal would decide to become a nun. There were likely some places that simply believed Yabakuni was a term for immortal. Rather than a nun, for all we know, she should have said, I'm gonna be a nun of that, and became an amateur diver. Badum tis. It's actually pretty insightful. Many legends are based on simple semantic misunderstandings. Wait a minute, I won't stand here and let my dumb joke become a salient point of discussion. Let's drop it then. But still, if one were to somehow live for 800 years, a person that became immortal after the Kamakura period could still be alive today. True, and if so, I'd love to sit down with them for a long chat. Okay. Can Kusawa's legend of Yobakuni really be true? There must be some falsehoods and fictions mixed into the tale, surely. Who knows? Issa Province isn't that far from Wakasa Province, after all. She may have simply walked here from here. And the fact that stories from each different area are so similar does make me wonder if they don't get mixed together somehow. So you think the legend may be an amalgamation of stories from various locations. Exactly, but then again... The Cody method? No, it's not... It wasn't the Cody method. It was the... Kumo. It was like the Kumi or something like that. God, dude, that was such a cool thing. The moral in the story from this location has her own name, which gives the legend a certain verisimilitude. Indeed, it does. I guess we can assume that a girl with that name really did live here a long time ago. And something must have happened to make people believe she became immortal. It's reasonable to assume her story got mixed up with various legends of Yobakuni from around the country before being passed down. Of course, the exact timing of these events is unclear, but that does present an interesting possibility. She could very well still be living in this village. Wouldn't that be a compelling development? Leave it to an occult writer to think up something like that. That's right, you're seeing the prodigious imaginative power of fantasy art author in action. It's really something. But the fact of the matter is that almost no trace of Yao remain in this village. Even her grave, which is referred to as Lady Yao's tomb, has never been located. But then, did we come all this way for nothing? Well, it might not have been a direct connection, but there is something one should always consider when discussing Issa. The Tales of Issa. Have you heard of it? It's the oldest extant collection of Japanese verse, compiled sometime during the Heian period. I'm afraid I'm not familiar with it. But I have heard of the tale of Genji and the tale of Haika. Is it anything like those? Well, those are also stories written during the Heian period. That's where the similarities end. Nice try, though. Huh. Well, they do sound similar enough. Anyways. Don't worry, I'm not an expert on the subject either. Basically, this connection of verse elaborates on a number of waka poems. By giving accounts of the events surrounding each one. The entire collection of 125 passages is referred to as the Tales of Issa. That's easy enough to remember, right? The Tales of Issa is a collection of short stories. Check. One more thing. The title might be The Tales of Issa, but the content isn't at all focused on the actual area. What's this? Are they intentionally attempting to confuse and bewilder us? Some believe the title comes from the fact that passage 69 is set in Issa province. At any rate, I just thought I should bring it up because it does have at least a slight bearing on the topic at hand. If you're keen to learn more, I'll add more detailed information to the files. Thank you. I'll be sure to read through them later. There's one other thing we can learn from the Tales of Issa. Adding tale up to a book really classes things up. You should keep that in mind. It was apparently all the rage during the Heian period. Oh, I couldn't agree more. My next work is certainly going to be a tale of. Well then, I suppose that brings this particular subject to a close. On to the next. No rest for the wicked, I say. Time to tackle the next mermaid myth. Sure. Alright, we're going to Fuda now. Okay. And here we find our next subject of inquiry. What place might this be then, my dear? This is Futamagara, a coastline that lies beyond Futami Town, just over from Isa City. Then we finally penetrated the outskirts of the Isa City proper. Things are certainly beginning to heat up. I inferred that Isa City was the prefectural capital, and the fact that Mie Prefecture was once known as Isa Province. Not bad, right? Well, I can understand how you would arrive at that conclusion. But the truth is, Mie Prefecture is composed of 4 separate provinces: Isa, Shima, Iga, and Kai. Ah, is that so? Doesn't change the fact that Isa City is regarded as the spiritual capital of Japan, making it a very important location. Interesting, but the sun has already begun its steady descent, so perhaps we should pick up the pace a bit. This is where we found a mermaid, too, right? Oh, we have full, look around, too. Futamagara Sea is famously said to purify the body, so many visitors to Issa Shrine come here as well. The scenic beauty of the locations has even been featured in poems from antiquity. It certainly is easy on the eyes. The strands of pine trees along the shore make for quite striking images. To make it even better, the embankment we're standing on offers a 360 view of Isa Bay. Makes you want to get out of the very edge to take it all in. It really does, but being surrounded by the bay like this is such an enchanting feeling. What a breathtaking view. Alright, we examined those. Any stickers? There's stickers? No? Alright. Talk about the Futamagara mermaids. So, does this place have any legends featuring mermaids? It does. A record called the Kangeki was written by the people at Horyuji Temple after the Kamakura period. In that record, there are a total of 6 instances of information containing mermaids. 6, that's promising. One of those entries describes a sighting here in Futami, Issa Province in April 3rd, during the second year of the Enbun era, which had been 1357. So they even noted the exact date. How fortuitous. The passage is as follows. From the Sea of Futami in Issa Province to the river... Fuck. This could have gone backwards. We could have done the Palestine, but it would have been cool. Province came Enmyoji, delivering perpetuity. What exactly does that mean? I guess is that a mermaid was spotted in the sea by Fatami. It was named Enmyoji, meaning health and long life because it granted longevity. It granted longevity to it. Finally, we're getting the good stuff. Yeah, it's another account relating to mermaids to Yao Bakuni. It seems the idea of mermaids granting immortality had already been established at that time. And now we even have a name. So what sort of mermaid was this, and what became of it? No clue. Again, with the vague records, these people write down the appearance of some fantastical creature, and then just let it wander off. I haven't personally gone over every bit of research on the matter, but I can speculate on an answer. Records of mermaids in other places also often refer to them by name. In fact, it may not have been all that uncommon for people in the area to encounter them when these records were written. Let me see if I follow your meaning. The same mermaid would appear repeatedly, leading people into an area to grow accustomed to it. Am I on the right track? Exactly. I mean, you wouldn't bother giving a name to something you saw once, after all. These people may have even had to come to a kind of rapport with the mermaids. At the very least, it doesn't appear as though they were trying to capture any. Mermaids that people didn't want to capture. And they weren't seeking its flesh. Perhaps there was a way of obtaining immortality even without the meat. Maybe mermaid meat really was just tasting and nothing more. And if that were the case, that makes perfect sense they would view the mermaid as a divine creature. Did they breed with humans? Well, we're not sure. We may never know. So they treat as an auspicious being that blessed others with a long life. You may be onto something there. This made me think of that theory you mentioned about how there might be two different kinds of mermaids. Oh, you remembered, I stand by my theory. There's the fish mermaid, which more is like an aquatic monster or beastie, and the human mermaid, which resembles a demi-human or nymph. Indeed, that's the simplest way to describe it, anyhow. Assuming the mermaid in question had a name, formed relations with humans and grand longevity, it stands to reason it was one of the human mermaid variety. You have a point. The mermaids we've encountered thus far have all been caught in nets and appear to be more like fish mermaids. It seems more likely, then, that the mermaids who grant longevity are actually these human mermaids. Interesting. That, in turn, would suggest... My word, would this mean that one could become immortal without eating their flesh? I'm not sure. There are countless legends that reference the need to consume the flesh. But I can't help but feel like there's more to it. Huh. If human mermaids are capable of communicating with us, I'd really like to speak to one. Agreed. Talk about interesting anything. This is entirely unrelated, but there's something I've been wondering. Do you mind? What? But our conversation was just getting good. Protest all you like, but I shall ask anyways. On our way here, I noticed a certain something adorning the entrances to everybody's houses. What was that? Oh, right, those are Somen Shorai talismans. Somen Shorai. Yes, although in most of Japan they're usually only hung up around New Year, but here in Isetoba Shiba region, they're traditionally left up all year round. Interesting. I can add more detailed information in the files for you later. Cool. Ah, what is it? What is it? Now you're making me antsy. Okay. Come on now, Cersei. You realized something about these Shomen Shirai, didn't you? You must share. Nothing like that. Just made me think about how close this area is to the Eternal World. It is? What does that mean? I suppose you haven't looked at the files yet, but regarding the Somen Shirai, the origin goes back to a legend about the deity Gozu Tenno, who is courting the princess of Ryugu. Huh, Ryugu, you say? I ain't doing shit besides a 12-hour sweet sweat on meth gooning and gooning and gooning. Okay. That's right, Ryugu is close to this place. In other words, that place is very close to the Eternal World. And furthermore, Gozu Tenno is also the guardian deity of the Gion Shoja Temple. The very same Gion Shoja who gets the mention in our old good friend, the Tale of Haika. So it is. What was it again? From the bells of Gion Shoja echoed out the impermanence of all things, right? It sounds so cool, I even memorized it. Haven't got a clue what it means, though. Yeah, that's the one. As for its meaning, you can look it up yourself. Fine, so what you're saying is, Isashima is a land with deep ties to both Ryugu and the Haika. And that is exactly why the Shomen Shirai tradition is so well established here. That reminds me. There's something about Ryugu's princess that keeps bothering me as well. She certainly is mysterious, That reminds me about Futamagura. Dear me, how time flies when listening to your own lectures, seriously. The sun has already gone down. I suppose I got carried away. Sorry. Well, if that results in such a lovely view of the sea at night, I'll not complain. You're right, just look at all the stars. Yeah. Think. Stars speckle the sky as far as the eye can see, not bad at all. Surroundings. But we really let time get away from us. Look at how dark it's gotten. Without light from the stars above, we'd be lost in pitch darkness. Starry sky. But look, the heavens are entirely enveloped in the shower of dazzling pinpricks of light. What a sight to behold. Did you happen to be versed in constellations, seriously? Well, I've dabbled a bit in astrology, so I guess I know a thing or two. Excellent, do tell. Dear me, I dragged her around all day long, didn't I? Perhaps I should say I had her drag me around all day long. As a guardian for the time being, I suppose I ought to have us retire early. Although Cersei herself seems to have limitless reserves of power. Actually, one thing. 15! 15. Arnav, 40. Okay. Alright, Arnav. We're watching you, bud. Talk about constellations. Well, if we consider the constellation you can see in Japan during the summer, the first one that comes to mind is the Summer Triangle. It's an easy one to find. Triangle, huh? I presume it's made up of 3 stars? Correct. Vega in the constellation of Lyra, Deneb in the constellation Cygnus, and Altair the constellation Achaea. This trio of bright stars can be observed close to the Milky Way in this season. I want to see, how do we go about identifying them? Well, first, low in the southwestern point of the sky, look for a star that glows red, Antares of Scorpio constellation. Southwest, from here that means facing inland and looking to the right. Okay, try to find a red star low in the sky and point to it. Okay. Okay. Wait, we have to find the actual star. Low in the sky and red. Like, I see a yellow one up here. That one? That one does stand out, but I'm afraid that's Arcturus from the Boots constellation. Plus, you're looking in the wrong direction. How utterly mortifying. Are you that upset? Yeah, a little bit, man. Well, I do believe I found it. The star just there with the red tint. That must be Antares, right? That is indeed Antares, the brightest star in the Scorpio constellation. Found it by myself. I made quite the celestial cartographer, if I do say so myself. Hate's around on your parade, but you're supposed to be looking for the star in the Summer Triangle, so please try again. Oh, fuck, that's right. Why not looking straight up from Antares? Then I bet you'll find Vega at the sky's zenith. Yeah, here. There, it must be it. That's Vega, one of the 3 stars in the Summer Triangle. In Japan, Vega is also called the Orihime star, and is famous for its connection to the Tanabata Star Festival. Then that must mean Hikaboshi will be on the opposite side of the Milky Way from that one. Exactly right. Can you figure out which one it is? One of the other stars in the Summer Triangle and is in the same area, so see if you can find it. Eureka, I've spotted it. Oh, that's Altair, one of the 3 stars in the Summer Triangle. Part of the Aquila constellation, Altair is known in Japan as Hikaboshi for its role in the Tanabata Star Festival. Oh, that means I've managed to spot both Orihime and Hikaboshi. It's as if I'd drawn the 2 star-crossed lovers together with my own hand. How overjoyed they must be. Nice work, I didn't expect you to be such a romantic. There's still another star in the Summer Triangle. It might be hard to see because of the angle. It's certainly a bit tricky, but to see something directly above you. Okay, right here? My eyes discerning, I believe it to be that's the one. That's Deneb, one of the 3 stars in the Summer Triangle. Cool. Lies within the Milky Way, which earns it the name Milky Way Star. It does appear to be swimming nicely along in that starry stream. There, I've located all 3 stars in the Summer Triangle. How do you like that? Good work. Now you master the summer skies. Should I start addressing you as Professor? That's me. Feel free to rely on my knowledge. Alright then, tell me, what is another name for the star Hokiboshi? Vega. Maybe I should have given you more time to study. I'm ruined. Surprise tests are my only weakness. We've seen all there is to see in Futamagara. I go so far as to call this a wrap. I think it covers all the mermaid legends for Mie Prefecture. But is there anyone else here you'd like me keen to visit, Cersei? We haven't even visited Issa's shrine yet. If you ask me, we barely scratched the surface. You got a point, but it's getting late, so let's save that for tomorrow, shall we? Alright. Huh. Okay. The next day. Alright. I'm wondering if, like, naming the stars right is like a... There's gotta be something for that, right? Date unknown. August 1980X. Morning. Mount Asama. Wow, talk of the gorgeous view. It is something, isn't it? This is Mount Asama's observation platform. It overlooks Toba City on one side and Issa City on the other. So that's Toba City over there. What's Toba got going for it? Well, the first thing that comes to mind when thinking about Toba is Toba Castle, built in the Sengoku period by no other than the pirate Daimyo, Lord Kuki, who at the time led the Kuki naval fleet. Oh, that's more exciting than I anticipated. As for the Tobashima area, it's famous for having the highest population of amateur divers in Japan. I knew there'd be something touristy. What a fantastic blend of culture and history. Okay, surroundings. Mount Asama's peak sits at 555 meters above sea level, so it's not that high. But as it's situated at the tip of the Shima Peninsula, it offers a magnificent view of Toba Bay's coastline and the outlying islands. Since we stopped by the shrine this morning, I assume we take the mountain path. All I can say is this place takes my breath away. Okay. So, search around. Does not look like there's a place for stickers. Alright. Talk about the Kuki Navy. First off, you should know that the naval troops in the Sengoku period were basically just pirates. Pirates, huh? Yeah, they would put together the crews of rowdy sailors, arm them to the teeth, and have them patrol a designated area of the sea. They only actually served under their commander as a naval force when there was a battle. So that's what the Navy was like back then, huh? A ragtag bunch of pirates that only called on to do their duty in times of need. Exactly. In fact, such forces came to be called navies during the Edo period, and that was purely a matter of convenience. As for the Kuki Navy, it was one of the pirate bands patrolling the waters of Issa Bay. A man named Kuki Yoshitaka was its commander, hence the name. He distinguished himself in the service of Oda Nobunaga and Toyotomi Hideyoshi, eventually rising to the position of daimyo of the Shima province. That's why they called him the Pirate Daimyo. He started as a lowly pirate, but worked all the way to the top of the chain of command. Did you say Oda Nobunaga? I've heard of him. He was the demon king of the Sixth Heaven, no? True, but that's a title he gave himself. Still, a pirate and a daimyo. What an enchanting combination. That may be, but he wasn't blessed where allies were concerned. It seemed he was always butting heads with his relatives. Oh? For one thing, he may have had his nephew, Sumitaka, assassinated in order to take over the Kuki clan. He also fought on the opposite side of it to his own son, Moritaka, in the decisive Battle of Sekigahara. And in the end, spurred on by his vassals, he committed suicide on Toshijima, that island over there. So while Kuki became daimyo of the Shima province, his land was confiscated during his son's rule, and the clan fell into decline. Life truly is full of ups and downs, how the mighty do fall. He must have been quite the character. That reminds me, there's another fascinating legend related to the Kuki clan. Okay, do tell. It's about Kuki Yoshitaka's nephew, Sumitaka, an extraordinarily beautiful daughter named Princess Hatsune. I dare say I know where this is going. Whenever a legend starts with a beautiful daughter... it inevitably ends with trouble. You're not wrong there. Princess Hatsune was so beautiful that she saw no end of suitors, and her father sought to marry her off to achieve his political ends. But the princess already had a lover, so she fought against her father's plans and even ran away several times, only to be brought home. I knew it! Alas, that's what life was like for the daughters of powerful figures in those days. Well, Princess Hatsune lamented her fate. Must I be cursed with such misfortune merely for my beauty? And she didn't stop there. May no beautiful daughter be born to this land again. She was the curse she left behind, and the threat before throwing herself down a well. And so ends the legend. Now that's not what I'd call a happy ending. The princess may have had good intentions, but I'm sure no one else felt she was doing them any favors. Good intentions, that isn't how I interpreted it. What's your take on the story then? When authority figures try to force other people's hands, they bring these things upon themselves. It's just asking to get cursed. Fair enough, I see your point. Still, the princess did take it a bit far. To me, though, it almost feels like that part was tacked on later. As if someone thought it would make the story more impactful and that the word of it would travel further if the princess killed herself in the end. If you're right, that would change the story completely. But there is something else that interests me more. Sumitaka became the head of the Kuki clan in 1560, but he was so young that Yoshitaka had to be appointed as his guardian. His exact age at the time isn't known, but common belief is that he was about 8 years old. Nothing unusual there. Premature inheritances were common occurrence in those days. But consider this. When Sumitaka died 24 years later in 84, he would have been 32 years old. Yeah? But if we suppose that Princess Hatsune was 15, their ages don't quite add up, do they? Age differences weren't so much of a point contention back then, even so that is a bit odd. Which begs the question, Princess Hatsune really exist to begin with? And even if she did, was she really Sumitaka's daughter? An agate Magatama was unearthed at the place where the princess is supposedly buried. That easily could have been planted there to lend credibility to the tale. Once you start doubting, it's hard not to see lies everywhere. True, and the pursuit of the unknown starts with belief, doesn't it? Well said. A certain occult researcher taught me that one. You don't say. Okay. Alright. Oh, I just realized something. Kuki Sumitaka died or was assassinated exactly 400 years ago. Is that significant? It is. A special spiritual significance is attached to periods of 400 years. For instance, the cycle of death and rebirth supposedly lasts 400 years, and some stories claim that a soul endures for 400 years. Of course, 800 years of mortals have twice that lifespan, but as you can see, 400 years is widely considered to be a good cutoff point. So there's a chance something happens after 400 years. Maybe. In any case, we should probably tread carefully there. It sounds like if you're in the right place at the right time. Talk about amateur divers. Amateur divers have a long history in the Tobishima region. Evidence indicates that free divers have been fishing in the area since ancient times. You don't say. Most notably, it says that Oben, who once presented abalone to Yamatohime no Mikoto, was the very first amateur diver. In fact, there is a shrine dedicated to Oben in Kozaki that is considered a sacred place to amateur divers of the Tobishima region. Is that so? She must have been truly legendary. Moreover, there are several poems in the famous 8th century poem anthology Manyoshu that depict the amateur diving in Shima province. Amateur divers also appear in dozens of ukiyo-e from the Edo period. Certainly, they were a popular theme. It's quite incredible to think their method of fishing has not only endured for so long, but is recorded in such exquisite detail. There's another point worth noting. Amateur divers have long been likened to mermaids for their skill and grace. You can even argue the amateur diver culture is so deeply rooted in this place is interwoven with the region's mermaid legends. There's a theory that mermaids of the Isa Bay were simply amateur divers. It does seem likely there's a connection between the two. I wouldn't be surprised if they were the originators of the legend. Perhaps, but I'd be beyond disappointed if that's all there is to it. Oh, right. This is a long chapter. By the way, there's another legend surrounding the amateur divers of Tobishima region regarding something called the Tomikazuki. The Tomikazuki? It is believed that an amateur diver may encounter a copy of herself underwater, who will then offer her an abalone. If she accepts, the Tomikazuki doppelganger will drive her to the bottom of the sea, never to be seen again. Seriously, please don't spring such scary stories on me out of nowhere. That's why the amateur divers of the area wear seaman and doman symbols on them when they dive. It's a tradition that's continued right up to the present day. There must be some reason for it beyond pure superstition. Interesting. On another note, the amateur divers of the Tobishima region possess such exceptional diving skills that in addition to fishing, they also saved people from drowning and fetched up objects that had sunk to the seafloor right up until the Miji area. Well, it sounds like they were true diving professionals. Exactly. In fact, after the Haika were defeated at the Dan no Ura and were lost beneath the waves. Oh, we're back to the Haika array. I wasn't aware there was a connection. Well, after that fateful battle, who do you think they sent to reclaim the legendary sword Kusanagi no Sugurugi from the seafloor? 2 amateur divers. So their lost and found services were being employed even back then, huh? And while they were diving, they came face to face with the vengeful spirits of the drowned Haika. Seriously, please, you're gonna give me nightmares. At least that's what's depicted in the ukiyo-e entitled Into the Western Sea, the diving women encounter the Haika in the depths of the water. Such a deep connection to think the Haika were once depicted with amateur divers. They truly are a symbol of the Isashima region. Yeah, but the setting for the ukiyo-e is Dan no Ura, which isn't anywhere near here. Still, it does go to show that amateur divers have held a deep connection to the sea for a very long time. And when we're talking about the Tobishima region, amateur divers are always going to be key players. If you ask me, they should be brought up before the pirates. Mind you, the Navy had a crucial role to play too. Right, well, as fascinating as all of this has been, Cersei, say it's high time we return to our primary topic of interest here. Oh, and what would that be? Personally, now that we visited Issa Shrine, I'm more or less satisfied. Cersei, you disappoint me. We didn't come here purely to chase legends, did we? And here I was hoping we could move on to buying souvenirs next. You know perfectly well that the true purpose of my voyage is nothing more or less than a treasure hunt. Right. Of course, I'm sure all this information we've been gathering will come in handy as well. First things first, let's head back to the inn. From there, we can plan our next move. Interesting chapter. A lot of exposition. A lot of exposition. Okay. Treasure Hunt Part 1. After collecting information about mermaids and returning to the inn, they have a meeting to discuss their plan for their true objective, the treasure hunt. Okay. Now then, I believe it's time we discuss our strategy. Sure, what do you mean by strategy? It should be obvious. We must reflect on all we've learned if we want to move forward. Okay. Let's look around real quick. Alright, we're doing the top, middle, and then, like, kind of the bottom. I don't see a sticker here. Oh, that's a phone. Hanging scroll. Perfectly complements the room. No dedicated alcove. Surroundings. This is a Murika Motai. It's a small inn located in Toba. Laid back inn that feels more like a private residence than a hotel thanks to attentive staff. Barely count all the different fresh fish we were served for dinner last night. I have not felt so full in a while. Mosquito repellent. Each room is equipped with a mosquito trap. They tend to come in through the windows on hot days. It's a neat contraption. You just have to plug it in and place it, and it will kill any nearby mosquitoes. Traps like these are reliable, as well as easier and safer than the combustible type, so they've gotten quite popular. The phone can only be used to call the front desk. Outside calls are impossible. Poster. It's a poster advertising the island of Kamishima. I'd love to pay a visit to a remote island like that. The name is intriguing, too. Kame means turtle, doesn't it? It may resemble an L-shaped dividing stream, but I think it is actually a towel rack. You're close, it's a small clothes rack. I see, so that's what it is. Normally it's used to hang kimonos, but this one's quite small, so I suppose it would work well for towels and other small garments. You're quite knowledgeable. Atmospheric lighting. Extra lights for the room. A lot of attention was paid to creating a comfy atmosphere for the guests. Alright, briefcase. My bag, a faithful travel companion of several decades. Research materials. Some of the notes I've taken, the information is not substantive or of use. Window. Lays passing through the windows. It's hot outside, so I'll leave them closed. Flowers. Dried flowers are supposedly the embodiment of the Japanese concept wabi-wabi, or however you say it. Okay. And then we've got notes. Research materials, a sketch. Sketch of the mermaid mummy that I found in our family storage. Bringing it along would have been out of the question, so I settled on just bringing a sketch. Oh, that's right. Someone told search you why I'm searching for mermaids. Map? Map looks quite old. Exactly, it is the precise reason I've come to Mie. Put simply, this is no ordinary map. It's a mermaid treasure map. A mermaid treasure map? Allow me to explain. Found this mermaid treasure map in the family storage. I should explain it. Business card. Business card from the guy we met earlier. It is. We managed to glean some surprisingly good information from that exchange. Oh yeah, that's when we ran into the two guys. First things first, let's head back to the inn. From there we can plan our next move. Pardon me, but would the lovely lady and the handsome gentleman be willing to spare me a moment? Yeah, the gentleman does have some time. Suppose that makes me the lady then. Oh, it's you. You've been following us for quite some time. Huh? He has? For how long? Since the Issa Grand Shrine, I believe. Truly. Maybe you could keep me apprised of things like this in the future, Circe. It appears I wasn't as stealthy as I thought. My apologies for the indiscretion. But you see, the two of you piqued my interest. Foreigners in Issa Bay searching for mermaids. Okay, you overheard everything. How embarrassing. Avi, hollering won't lessen the embarrassment. How rude of me. I thought to introduce myself. Huh? I'm an event planner here in Issa City. My name is Kipe Ikoma. Isn't that the... That's the one guy that they found, right? Where was that guy? Where was that guy's thing? Like, wasn't there like a guy that had like the last name Akoma? Or something like that? I feel like I remember that. I just don't know where that would be, even. Right? Interesting. Alright. Yeah, the guy that died 6 years ago, whose bones, like, washed up. I think his, like name was Akoma something. Fancy business card and everything. What a charming fellow. Let's see, salad planning. And it says you're the CEO. I'm actually the only employee, so the title doesn't mean much. I see. I apologize for the rudeness, but I actually just ran out of business cards of my own. Do you ever have any? I have heard you need to carry business cards in Japan if you want to avoid looking suspicious, but I still forgot to bring any. But the freewheeling and forgetful man before you goes by the name Arnav Barnum, a fantasy author who's merely passing through. Do you believe me, or am I too suspicious? Without a business card for proof, the verdict is yours alone to make. So you're an author, Mr. Barnum. Please call me Avi. This is Circe. She has studied Japanese history more than... She's studied more Japanese history than even the average Japanese citizen. It's a pleasure. If you'd like, I can list the top 100 of Issa's best features at any time. Aren't you a delight? It's right to take an interest in the two of you. Event Services CEO, Akoma. 26 years old. About 6 years ago, with the support of wealthy tycoon Yamashima, moved from Issa. Huh. Interesting. Did he steal the fucking dead guy's name? Forgive me for my bluntness, but would you mind sparing me a few moments? I'd love to talk a little longer. I suppose that could be arranged. Young man is actually CEO, though I'm not sure I'd call him young. His gaze has a piercing quality to it, and there's something off about his smile. Everything about him feels older than he looks. Surroundings. Gusts of wind graze this lovely observation deck. There's no stickers here, right? No, I don't think so. I thought she was totally absorbed in her sightseeing, yet she noticed we were being tailed. Impressive if I do say so myself. What do you think, Circe? Feels like a scammer who targets foreign tourists. Quite a blunt one, aren't you, young lady? What do you think? Oh, okay, so we're gonna have to talk to her later. Alright. Cool. Truth is, I'm currently playing a promotional tourism campaign for the Isashima region. I was thinking of using Mermaid Legends as a centerpiece of the campaign. Mermaids, huh? I'm sure you were already quite aware of the Mermaid Legends of Issa Bay, right? I thought we could hold events and exhibitions centered around such legends to attract tourists. I see, so that's why you were interested in the mermaids. Additionally, the Isashima region is also famous for its pearls. I believe mermaids and pearls naturally complement one another. True, there's also a famous legend that mermaid tears turn to pearls when they are washed away by the ocean. Oh, such a story would do wonders for diving tourism in the area. Does this project mean you're knowledgeable about mermaids and Issa then, Mr. Akoma? I suppose it does. I know a fair bit. For example, there are some mermaid legends most people have never heard of. Oh, share, please. A long time ago, there was an island south of Kamishima known as Taishima. Have you heard of it? I'm afraid I haven't. It rings a bell. It was also called Taishima by some. That's absolutely right. It was said once upon a time 3 mermaids lived on Taishima. Wow, 3 of them. Tell you, were they human mermaids or fish mermaids? Human mermaids? Well, I suppose their upper bodies were human, and I suppose you could describe them as such. I see. They would separate them from the 3 mermaids discovered in the Bet Suho during the Heian period. This is the first I've heard of this tale. However, Taishima sunk after about 400 years ago during a natural disaster. The mermaids seem to have vanished after that. It's such a shame. Regardless, it is said that the 3 mermaids were named Sobai, Nagami, and Hayase. So the mermaids were named too, huh? That definitely adds to the authenticity of the story. Pardon me, Mr. Akoma. I never came across such concrete info. Where did you learn all this? I don't blame you for questioning my sources. I also haven't been able to find many records of this tale. You see, the story is passed down through word of mouth. As it turns out, there was a single man who managed to escape the island's destruction. His descendants have kept the legend alive. So it's the descendants you heard from the story before. That's right, they live a modest private life these days. When the story comes straight from a descendant like that, it does lend some credibility. Not really. These oversized suits known as soft suits are quite popular in Japan. Perhaps he's trying to be taken seriously as a CEO. He certainly is putting a lot of effort into his appearance. I'd love to inquire deeper about these Taishima mermaids. If you don't mind, could you share the identity of the descendant you speak of? My apologies, but I'm afraid I cannot oblige. She's not the friendliest sort. Frankly, even I have trouble getting her to open up. No matter how many times I visit her, I always feel I'm the only getting part of the story. I see, that's a real shame. Now, this may not be much consolation, but I have another interesting rumor from this descendant to share. Oh, I'm all ears. It concerns one of the rumored Taishima mermaids. It is said that a few decades ago, one of those mermaids turned human and now lives among us. No kidding. She became human. It does ring a bell, though. Wait, is that exactly the story of the Little Mermaid? What an exciting discovery! You say this was only a few decades ago. That makes it quite recent. The former mermaid could even be walking among the people here as we speak. If the story is true, then yes. However, I'll concede that even I find the story hard to believe. It is a little fantastical. By the way, may I ask why you're searching for Issa Bay's mermaids on you? No particular reason. I thought it'd be fun to wander through some sightseeing areas related to the mermaid folklore. That's it. I see. So you travel all the way to Japan to sightsee. I'd love to ask you some questions. Was there anything missing from the areas you visited that you think would have made your trip more enjoyable? What about those photo spots you put your face in? I know those. I love those. Really, are they that interesting? They're a Japanese tourism classic. It would be nice to see more of them. I agree. If I saw one, I would certainly take a photo with it. Oh, please sell more of those little pennant flags. I cannot resist them. Truly appreciate the input. Perhaps things are fine as they are. Amazing. Brand new mermaid legend. Real question is why? Why? There's a long history of people making up legends to drive tourism. Such stories linger on despite their veracity being completely unverifiable. I suppose. We're talking about fucking mermaids, bro. Is something the matter? It's nothing. It's nothing. Okay. Should you discover anything now regarding the Aries mermaids, please let me know. Understood. We hope you'll do the same for us. Well, it's about time for us to get going. Yeah, of course. Thank you, and I apologize again for taking so much of your time. Actually, since you've come all the way to Japan... Huh? If anything happens to you during your vacation here, or you need any other help at all, please feel free to give me a call. I am quite familiar with all sorts of businesses in the area. For example, I can put you in touch with someone, should you be looking to interview amateur divers. Really, that's very kind. You're not saying as a formality, are you? A free-spirited lad like myself will not hesitate to take you up on an offer like that. I will be calling you! Please do not hold back. I'll leave you to your sightseeing. Please have a good time. Okay. If mermaids really did live in Taishima, it's certainly worth investigating. Hit the map again. She explains to Cersei. He did the business card. Ashtray. Of course, an ashtray that came with the room. Ashtrays like these are found about anywhere. Someone can smoke without any worries. That being said, I've noticed people outside still simply dropping their cigarettes onto the ground. I wasn't a smoker to begin with. I worried yesterday that Cersei might struggle to sleep on just a futon in a tatami room like this, but she looks well rested, so I suppose she's used to it. I, on the other hand, was too excited to get much sleep. Talk about the map. I found this map in the old family storage. It was left by my great-grandfather. Mother. If she's your great-grandmother, that would make her my great-grandmother's sister. I heard she was exiled from the Lunarlight family because of her eccentricities. That's correct, she was quite fond of the occult and amassed a number of suspicious curios over her lifetime. As a child, I loved searching through the storehouse that housed her collection. It was like a treasure hunt of wonders. A demon's tail, a yeti's bone, book of black magic, Ogopogo's tooth, a piece of UFO, a crystal skull. I cannot vouch that any of it was authentic, but it was still so exciting to look through. It's no exaggeration when I say this very storehouse is what led me down the path of becoming a fantasy author. I suppose that's the kind of formative experience an occult writer needs. Just so, I have to thank my great-grandmother. She's the reason I can put food on the table. Among the items in that collection was this. I see, the mermaid mummy. Yeah, they were rather prevalent at sideshows and the like all over the world in the 19th century. Mermaid mummies from Japan were quite popular because of their high quality. A number of them even made their way to Europe. Huh. This one probably made its way to the family storage around that time. This probably passed from one seller to another until it ended up in my great-grandmother's hands. How are you so sure it was made in Japan? Well, you see, I gave this mummy a thorough investigation. I even took it apart. Sure enough, it was made of wood and paper clay. But lo and behold, I also found this map inside. Truly, you found the map inside a mummy. Whoever made it all those years ago must have snuck the map inside. I doubt my great-grandmother had the slightest idea it was even in there. That's an incredible discovery. It's simply tantalizing, is it not? There's not a doubt in my mind that it'll lead to a most thrilling discovery. Talk about the map. So why'd you call this a mermaid treasure map? Well, it's inside of a mermaid mummy, so it follows it must be a treasure map of sorts, no? I see, your enthusiasm has carried you quite a ways from home. I'm impressed. Thank you. I've no doubt our treasure lies somewhere in Isabe. What a shame there's no X to mark the spot. Indeed, this leads to our first conundrum. Any ideas how to decipher this map? Put me on the spot, why don't you? It does look like something is written here. Do you know what it says? Oh, that part. I did some research on that. Apparently it says, search the 95th. Search the 95th. Sure makes it sound like it leads to a secret location of some sort. Must be related to mermaids. Aren't you just itching to find it? You know it. I knew it. I'm counting on you to help me solve the map's riddle. I saw you, Dagnus. I just don't have any response to that. Oh, wait, I just remembered. Huh? You said you can douse, no? Can you just douse for the treasure? Then we can skip the whole map and riddle business altogether. I apologize, but that's impossible. Truly, but why? Dowsing is usually used to find waterways, veins of ore, and other such things. My dowsing, however, can be used to find people and objects imbued with spiritual power. However, I must be familiar with the spiritual power that I'm looking for. I see, in other words, you wouldn't be able to find a treasure you've never seen or heard of. Yeah, the distance from which I can detect the source also depends on how strong the spiritual power is. It's not quite the superpower I thought it was. I'd say we've had enough of a diversion. Let's get back to investigating the map. Let's take a good look. Pick it up. Oh, did you know something? Looks like something is written on the other side. I knew I must have missed something. I should carefully hold the edge when I want to look at the other side. Oh. Take a close look at all the spots on the back of the map. I dismissed them as a bunch of stains. Do you really think that's all they are? No, they're the stars. Alright, Eureka. I figured it out. It's hard to see what you mean. Can you point at the front? Ah, you make a fair point. Maybe less inspiration struck than I first assumed. I must think on this a bit more. It's a map. Judging it's quite old. Eureka. Figured it out. Where's the treasure? It's like right here, right? I've no doubts. It's there. Behold. Why there? It felt right. Why would you care to show me a more? Would you care to show me a more definite location? Okay, bro. Fuck off. So it's like here, is my guess. Like in between these three dots. All right. It's like, so like right here. Isn't that Taishima? You're right, it depicts an island in the south of Kamishima. It's safe to assume this map was made before Taishima sank them. It makes it over 400 years old and made during the Sengoku period. Incredible. And then the symbol. Do you recognize the symbol on the lower right? It appears quite similar to Sanskrit. I don't recall a character quite like this one. Maybe a mark unique to the cartographer, like his signature. If that's the case, it's irrelevant to our investigation. Though my opinion could change should we come across a symbol elsewhere. Okay, put the map down. And then talk about the map. Had enough of a diversion, let's get back to investigate. We did. But we did though. I thought Bermuda Ash Triangle coordinates. I know, right? Let's hit Eureka again. Where's the treasure? It's gotta be here. There, behold. No. Okay. Have you figured it out? No doubt it's here. But what do you mean? I thought we got past this. No. No. Have you figured it out? Like right here, right? No? Alright. Eureka. It's gotta be one of these dots, man. Here, behold. Oh, and what makes you say? The very start spot marks the answer to our riddle. Taishima, right? No? Oh my god. Files. We gotta look at the stars and shit. Oh my god. Kuke, Princess Asuni, Taranator Mori. What are the name of the fucking stars? Yike. Yay puzzles. I know, right? It's like Deneb was one of them. Culture and society. Maybe? Summer Triangle. This is Altair. So there's Vega, Deneb, and Altair. Okay, so we're on Altair. Altair. Okay. Allow me to explain. You see, the 95th in the riddle must refer to the 95th tale in the Tales of Issa. The title of that tale is none other than Hikoboshi. Next, note how the Summer Triangle constellation is drawn on the back. The location of Hikoboshi or Altair corresponds to this very spot on the map. Incredible, I should have expected nothing less. You truly are a genius, Gasavi. Nothing compares to the rush of breakthrough. Let's keep riding this high. Okay. Nice. We may know where to look, but it's far too large an area to just start searching. Talk about the mermaid search. To be frank, I didn't come here just to solve the math's riddle. My real goal is to find an actual mermaid. Oh yeah, I had a feeling that was it. So you already knew. Exorcists sure have some keen instincts. What will you do if you find a mermaid? Do you want to become immortal? I suppose. Might as well, considering all the trouble finding one will be. Your reasoning is unexpectedly uninspired. Simple though it may be, I find the idea quite romantic, akin to ascending to a new stage of humanity. Sure, I guess. I take you disagree with my thinking, Circe. I fail to see why my opinion should matter here. What you do is your decision to make. But I'm not certain that an immortal can still be called human. Still, your decision is irrelevant to my duty, so I'll try not to interfere. Being an immortal will be a rare once-in-a-lifetime chance. Please transcend humanity and let me examine you. I prefer you didn't speak of me like a research specimen, but I'll overlook it for now. I do wonder if immortality would actually bring you any happiness. When you look at old folk tales, it seems to be less of a blessing and more of a curse. Don't say that after I already made my mind up and everything. Sure, you'll be alright. If you tire of immortality, you need only embark on a journey like a modern-day Yao Bakuni. That's one way to look at it, though I think that none part might be an issue. Well, I shouldn't get too far ahead of myself. There's no immortality to be had until I find a mermaid flesh to bite into. So let's start there. Understood. I'm also quite interested in finding this. Alright. You know, we researched the area on the map. It's the middle of the sea. How are you supposed to search a place like that? Looking for an unknown object somewhere on a large swath of seafloor seems like an impossible task. You're right, that does sound difficult. We might have to ask our friendly CEO for help. He did give us his card. Wouldn't that mean we have to inform him of the map? No other way about it. In addition, should we find anything, I imagine he'll expect to share the spoils. I really want to keep it all to myself. Sharing is the worst. I understand, but we have no other options. It's a shame, but I suppose you're right. We should contact him as soon as we can. Why not just get, like, one of the divers? Okay. Interesting. Okay, Treasure Hunt Part 2. The next day. Hello, this is Akoma. I'm calling about the seafloor investigation. I asked an amateur diver to investigate the area because I was keen to get results as soon as possible. However, she has not returned. Oh! These are the missing divers, isn't it? Which is why we're headed out there ourselves to assess the situation. We have nothing else to do, after all. So he asked an amateur diver to investigate the seafloor in the area. I guess in a place like this, it'd be faster to hire an amateur than a regular diver. Even in this age, you can still get some amateurs to do contracted dives. Huh. It appears she was contracted to investigate for an hour, at which point she was returned, even if empty-handed. It is so loud. I suppose the intent was just for her to survey the area to start with. Several hours passed with no word from the diver. I see why Akoma is worried. We'll start by checking out the location. We can request a police search after if need be. Seriously, do you have a bad feeling about this? I do, ever since we first heard about this. I see. There's a strong negative spirit energy in the air that only has intensified as we approach the spot. Something happened here. The diver didn't make it back. Is it safe for us to go? I have a talisman that repels evil. It should be fine. Well, if you say, worst comes worst, we'll reunite in the afterlife. Understood. Leave it to me. There's something here. That must be the amateur diver's boat. There doesn't appear to be anyone around. How unsettling. You're right, there's something terrible here. Is it really that bad? It is. I can tell even from this distance. It's coming from the bucket. It's saturated with sinister spiritual energy. There's some real powerful curse inside. Inside the bucket? Does that mean the amateur diver found something on the seafloor and brought it up to the surface? Or perhaps has come to the curse while trying to get it out. Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, as we cannot say for sure what misfortune this curse may call forth, I need you to remain cautious. Can you dispel curses, Circe? Depends on the curse itself, but I believe I may be able to handle one of this caliber. That's a relief. It's really safe for us to approach the boat, though? Yeah, it's fine. For me, at least. If anything happens to me, then I'll leave the rest to you. Oh my, there's a small metal box in the bucket. This has to be the source. Can we take it? Provided I can overpower the malice that's engulfed in. Ha! That was it. It should be safe to touch now. I'll leave that part to you. No problem. It's pretty heavy. What do you think this box is exactly? Appears to be quite old. It likely dates back to the same time period as your map. Look at the symbol on the top of the box. Do you recognize it? I saw it on the map. The strange symbol we saw on the map. It's necessary to say the map was leading us towards this exact box. It only makes its identity all the more intriguing. There's some strange lines on the side. Perhaps it's some sort of a puzzle. It appears to open from the top, but it's not budging. It would take quite a lot of strength to force it open. I believe this box has been sealed with powerful spiritual energy. Probably sealed by a skilled sorcerer a long time ago. I doubt it'll open by any normal means. I can feel something shifting whenever I turn it. There must be some mechanism inside. Suppose you'll want to align the box with spiritual energy of this place. In English? It's likely the mechanism for unlocking the box is activated by orienting the box in the right directions in the right order. And figure out where to point it. Leave it to me. Take out the box. Should investigate the box, rotate it so I can get a good look at all four sides. Rotate. It just... Think. What is the right way? Must be related to the solution somehow. Ooh, I felt something move inside the box. I must be on the right track. Nice, keep at it. Clouds? Or a small, like a tiny island? What's this one gonna be? We don't have, like, any tiny islands, you know? Like, that tiny. It kind of looks like clouds, but I don't really know. Like, it kind of maps here, right? Doesn't make a lot of sense, though. We did this one, right? This one's gonna be like here-ish. Yep. That's 2. And then this last one is right here. Yep. And then the final one is this. Oh, does this like, maybe it's like the top of one of these hills? And then like another one that's at like equal size? Peaks? I'm thinking peaks. The problem is it's not like not really working with that, right? This is really weird. This one's weird. Oh, that thing we tried earlier. Okay, that didn't work for some reason. Okay, congrats. What's inside? Let's see. What is this? Some kind of small wooden carving. Oh. Curse of the Forsaken Fish. Oh. Something came out. What is this? Make it stop. A deep and painful, resentful memory has invaded my mind. Drift forever. Ill-doers, be as fish, perish. You acquire the Curse of the Forsaken Fish Curse Stone. Use it to turn people into fish and kill them when they are submerged in the water of Issa Bay. It can even be used at a distance, provided the target meets the requirements. Press the Use Curse button when you wish to use the curse. Okay. Hey, Gamma. It's not gonna have a cat. It's got a curse stone, buddy. Ha ha ha. What the hell was that? I'm not certain. I believe we may have just acquired a cursed tool known as a curse stone. They are rarely possessed by such powerful curse echoes. How lucky. If you truly are congratulating me, then I'll happily celebrate with you. Can I ask you something first? Of course. Am I cursed? Am I gonna die? I wouldn't say you're cursed per se. There was a similar case in Tokyo last year. Hold on for a minute. I cannot think straight. This is far too overwhelming. An incredible amount of information has flooded my mind right now. I need a moment to settle before I can take in anything else. You must mean the resentful memory held by the curse. It's a phenomenon wherein the events leading up to the curse forming are passed on to the curse bearer so that the grudge will spread. Oh, and curse bearer refers to someone who is haunted by a curse echo and thus able to use the curse. Stop, I already told you I couldn't take any more information. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Okay. So that's the first game, right? It's a killing game where everybody gets curse stones and you have to kill all the other curse stone holders, right? I think I learned why Taishima sunk 400 years ago. Let me sort out all of that first. Tell me. Yeah, give me a minute. Food shops is Chinese, not Japanese. Get your shit together, racist. Okay. Thank you for investigating the situation for me. I was involved in an accident many years ago, so I can't bring myself to go out to sea anymore. You've been a tremendous help. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. We actually got our hands on something quite valuable, so we owe you thanks as well. That's great. I'd love to hear more about what you discovered if you don't mind. Of course. I don't think we should tell him about this. I hate to say it, I really don't think we should tell him about this. He may look scary, but his demeanor is surprisingly gentle and kind. He's a polite young man. People like him tend to be misunderstood because they're a little awkward. He must struggle with that kind of thing a lot. Even when a curse fell into our lap, she managed to remain calm. Only a consummate professional like her could be so cool and collected with all that's happened. Will he believe us if he suddenly start talking about curses? Can we just not bring it up? You think you can explain it all without bringing them up? Well, we'll see how far we get. Check the surroundings. Mouth of the Kamo River. It's residential further upstream. It seems Mr. Akoma has just arrived in Toba, so we managed to meet up without any problems. Do you not see the fish curse? Okay. They don't entirely look like food shops. Alright? They're not like balding and, shit like that. So, I don't know, man. I don't see it, okay? Generic Asian person? Sure. Talk about the amateur diver. The diver I hired to perform the search was a diver living in Toba City by the name of Tomiko Suma. I thought there was no way we could pull off the search, but that's when she agreed to take on my request. I feel terrible about what happened. I can only hope that she's still out there somewhere, unharmed. She had no way of knowing how dangerous this job was. Please, I'm the one who sent her out here. There's blame to that. It's mine. But still, what exactly happened out here? About that, let's start with this metal box the amateur diver found. Please do. It appears Miss Suma decided to take on my commission alone and set out to the sea by herself. Perhaps things would have ended differently if there had been a boatman with her. It appears... Oh, okay. Never mind. Talk about the box. Basically, this is a wooden carving we found inside the metal box. Sorry, I need to check something. I'm, thinking about this. When did they put in... Where did they put in all the stuff from the current, investigation, right? I just feel that there's something we're slightly missing. Occult craze. Psychics and spirit sense. Curse of the raging waves. Curse of the forsaken fish. I don't know. Very odd. I don't know. I don't even know what file that was. So your map indicated the location of this wooden carving. We believe so. The question is why? Why go all the way not to just hide it, but to conceal the map in a mermaid mummy? How intriguing. I suppose a carving like that would have had some value back in the day, but to go through all the effort to preserve it like this? I believe that's what was preserved was not the carving itself, but the mermaid's memory that was stored inside the curse. Curse? Dun-dun-dun what now? That's right. In other words, the one who made the box entrusted it with a message, and we are the recipients. Please calm down. I'm feeling quite lost. I know you're quite excited, but I think we have no choice but to start explaining the curse. That's right. It's a curse chit-chat time. You may be a bit too rational to believe what I'm about to tell you, Mr. Akoma. Even so, I ask you to try your best. Huh? You're ready to hear it, I'm ready to say it. Come, give me your answer in the next 3 seconds. 3, 2... I'm prepared, please tell me. So, the Tashima mermaid known as Hayase was killed by raiders. The hatred she left behind became a curse that entered this wooden carving. You, Avai, then inherited her curse in addition to information from 400 years ago in the form of a resentful memory. You absorbed all that quite efficiently, I'm impressed. It's actually not the first time I've heard of what can happen if one touches a curse stone. Oh. Yeah, let's save that conversation for later. More importantly, you know what actually went down in Taishima 400 years ago. That's right, I know the truth, all of it. What happened, what didn't, I know it. You seem a bit frazzled. Do you need more time to collect your thoughts? There's no need to worry, I'm prepared, but it will take some time to explain. Talk about the box. Reminds me, I meant to ask about the metal box. It's been lying on the sea floor for 400 years. How come it wasn't discovered until now? Most likely sealed inside a rock or something until a few months ago, when there was an earthquake. So it was sealed away until a certain amount of time had passed. No, I believe the box and sealing may have been triggered by something. The earthquake. The earthquake! Time to reveal what happened 400 years ago to Taishima and the mermaids. Please do tell. Around 400 years ago, the area of Shima province, which included Taishima, was governed by the Kuki clan. She's 15. The leader of the clan at the time was Kuki Shimataka. It was his duty to protect the secret of the 3 mermaids living on Taishima. That must have been Soe, Nagame, and Hayase. The legend that eating mermaid flesh could grant immortal life was well known. He secretly hid them on Taishima so no one would learn about their existence. It appears Sumataga thought of the mermaids as sacred or divine existence. The thought of seeking immortality for himself likely never crossed his mind. The land where the mermaids lived was a sanctuary they fiercely protected at all costs. In other words, Taishima was an island where people worshipped the mermaids in secret. Indeed, it meant the people living on the island were not simple commoners, but guards tasked with protecting the sanctuary and its mermaids. Sumitaka was so dedicated to keeping the mermaids secret that he kept the existence of Taishima out of historical records. The public believed the island was entirely uninhabited. I see, by keeping its existence hidden, he was able to keep the mermaids safe. However, a vassal of Sumitaka's uncle, Yoshitaka, learned about the mermaids on Taishima. He passed this information on to Yoshitaka, who believed they obtaining immortality was a must to rise to the top in an era that was often plagued by war. He made his vassal to leave his army to Taishima to do whatever he had to return with the flesh of a mermaid. Sumataga and those on the island resisted, but the invading army was too powerful. The island was swiftly overrun. Unfortunately, Hayase was captured and brought before the vassal. The vassal tortured her, demanding she grant him the power of immortality. But Hayase didn't yield, even to the most hellish torments. She screamed and cursed within despair and anger until her dying breath. It's horrible. The hatred Hayase felt at the moment of her death led to the creation of the Curse of the Forsaken Fish. And that is what I learned from the resentful memory inside the Curse Stone. But to be honest, that's only half. Half of what? Half the memories. The other half is the memories of the one who left behind the metal box. Namely, the story of how the Curse of the Forsaken Fish became a Curse Stone. Having failed to attain immortality, the vassal flew into a rage. He had all inhabitants of Taishima slaughtered as revenge for keeping the secret. This guy was the worst. Finally, he continued his advance into the sanctuary the islanders had protected down to the last man. There, he destroyed its shrine. But irony that he claimed so close to the secret that he had been so desperate to find. Are you saying the other two mermaids were still in the sanctuary? No, they already had fled Taishima. Actually, there were two other survivors. Sumitaga's adopted daughter, Princess Hatsune, also escaped the chaos of the invasion unscathed. There was one other islander who managed to survive as well, taking with him the treasure the mermaids had protected. The mermaid's treasure. This may shed some light on the descendant you spoke of earlier. She must be a descendant of the man that escaped that day. We now know she was correct when she spoke of 3 mermaids living in Taishima. So we do. Putting the sentence aside for now, let's return to 400 years ago. The vassal's invasion and destruction of the sanctuary was like a trigger. As a reaction to the sanctuary's fate and their own ill-deserved deaths, the sorrow and hatred of the islanders swirled together and formed into the curse of the raging waves, a natural disaster that shook the heavens when descended upon Taishima. The curse bombarded Taishima with violent winds, earthquakes, and thunder. Then, in the final act to protect Taishima's lost sanctuary, they sank it into the sea to destroy all evidence of it ever existed. They destroyed it. The small island of Taishima sunk swiftly under the waves. The vassal and all of his men were, of course, all killed thanks to the curse. But one problem remained. That wasn't the end of it. Taishima was destroyed by natural disasters caused by the curse of the raging waves. But the calamity continued for many days. It must have seemed as though it would never end. I can't imagine how terrifying it must have been. Sumitaka even sought out a famous onmyoji to dispel the curse, but he was unsuccessful. The curse would eventually sink to the bottom of the sea, alongside the sanctuary, and be sealed there. Only then did the calamity end. Yet it appears this curse was so powerful it required a sacrifice to be truly sealed. Sacrifice? Not just a sacrifice, but a living one. Princess Hatsune offered herself up to be that sacrifice. He said she was Sumitaka's adopted daughter, yeah? And that she lived on Taishima? That appears to be the case. Sumitaka evidently was so taken with her, he decided to adopt her. The rumor that she threw herself down a well was likely spread to cover up the real cause of death. So Princess Hatsune was actually sacrificed. The seal would hold for 400 years. They must have hoped the curse itself would fade during that time, too. However, the curse of the Forsaken Fish created by Hayase also continued to linger in the same place. So the Onmyoji, sealed inside the wooden carving, turning it into a curse stone. And then the same Onmyoji, knowing the seal would only last 400 years, stored his memories within the curse stone to pass on this information. He wished to pass down his knowledge for others to use in the event the curse outlasted the 400-year lifespan of the seal. He left behind instructions on how to completely dispel the curse of the raging waves. Indeed, I've compiled it all in my files. Thou must unbind my seal, risen from the depths of the iron box. Offer the still-tied mirror bequeathed by the sacrifice to the sanctuary. Let those who share blood with the lost souls of Taishima be the ones to offer appeasement. So, this is going to have to be our main character gets this curse box, or gets the mirror. Huh. Interesting. That is what it... So why didn't that happen with the guy's mom, then? Because that seems like all the rules, right? Huh, so that's what happened. That wraps it up. I got all that info beamed in my brain into flash, and I still managed to present an enticing narrative. How amazing was that? You're utterly astounding. Wow, incredible. What's this one? Okay. So Sato is Princess Hatsumi then, right? Okay. Interesting. Okay. I combine all the detail in the story in these files, so feel free to go over it at your own pace. Thank you. Talk about the diver. After Miss Suma found the metal box, you mean to tell me she's died? It's likely. If we consider that the curse of the Forsaken Fish had completely saturated the metal box, it's likely already too late for her. How horrible. She likely turned into a fish and died soon after. There's a high chance her transformed body will wash up on shore soon. Okay. Wait a sec. Is something wrong? Avi, if someone is affected by the curse of the Forsaken Fish, the transformation starts at the feet and travels slowly up, yeah? I believe so, though it's hard to say for sure without witnessing it. It's true that may explain the true identity of the fish mermaids discovered in this area. It could have been the bodies of those who died in the middle of transforming due to the curse of the Forsaken Fish. Oh, that's a convincing story. Fish mermaids have been reported as having only human heads or faces, or appearing human just from the chest or shoulders up. If the curse starts at the feet and travels upward, that would explain the variety of fish mermaids that have appeared. The process is so painful that most die mid-transformation. Then the curse causes the corpse to rapidly wither, forming a fibrous mass. Ugh. It may even be the true identity of your mermaid mummy. Interesting. Still, without analyzing directly, there's no way to know for certain. But perhaps this is why the mermaid mummies originating from Japan are of such high quality. Ikoma. Of course, this doesn't mean that all fish mermaids and mermaid mummies are authentic. But it does mean there's a possibility. Any number of fish mermaids could actually be victims of the curse. Talking about Taishima. Actually, I just remember there were 2 points from your tale I wanted to discuss about the events 400 years ago. The first point concerns the vassal who tortured the mermaid in an attempt to obtain immortality. If all he needed was the mermaid's flesh, what necessity would there be in torturing her? Oh, that's true. It could mean that the vassal ate the mermaid's flesh but did not become immortal. So he tortured her to figure out why. As for the second observation, I have a theory about the area you described as the sanctuary. Could it possibly be referring to an entrance to Ryugu? Ryugu. It's sometimes referred to as the other world. Mermaids are priestesses who serve the ruler of Ryugu, the god of the sea. I see. The sanctuary was actually an entrance to Ryugu. That could mean the mermaids were not living on Taishima, but merely traveling there from Ryugu. Yeah, I believe that to be the case. It also explain why the destruction of this sanctuary would inspire the fury of the god of the sea. To be honest, it's difficult to believe that the grudge of the inhabitants of Taishima would be enough to explain what happened. How could they possibly engender a curse powerful enough to sink an island and linger for more than 400 years? It's quite easy to believe that such a curse from Ryugu could maintain such power. It also explains the necessity of a living sacrifice. Of course, one would be required to seal an entrance to Ryugu. But the entrance to Ryugu was sealed. What became of the two mermaids that fled Taishima? I doubt Sobe and Nagame managed to return to Ryugu. I believe they've been living here in the human world for the past 400 years, waiting for the seal to be lifted. They just hid somewhere away from human eyes. If that is true, then they've been successfully hiding for over 400 years. Of course, if they were hiding themselves at the bottom of the sea, it would be practically impossible to find them. It would also be possible they've been wandering the globe rather than lingering in one place. It could explain all the mermaid sightings around the world. They could be the same too. All this discussion of hiding made me realize something. What is it? Do you recall the story where Mr. Ikoma told us yesterday of the mermaid who became human? Are suggesting she decided to join human society because she cannot return to Ryugu. It's a possibility we should consider. But that occurred a few decades ago. Why would she decide to become a human just before the seal was released? Perhaps her circumstances changed. We can only speculate on the motivations of someone who's lived for centuries. It's possible she did not feel compelled, but decided to become human out of her own desire. Could she have met someone she wanted to live a mortal life with, like in The Little Mermaid? Certainly possible, and quite romantic, too. I'll have to write this down. It could make a solid novel. Oh, I just realized something. What is it? You heard about this mermaid from the descendant of the Taishima survivor, right? That's correct. Field's only right there informed of the things we learned. We'd love to talk to her. We're quite curious about this mermaid treasure, too. It must have been passed down to them through the generations. I understand. I'll probably drop by her place later anyway, since I have to handle the matter with Mrs. Suma. I'll discuss it with her then. Thanks, that'd be great. That said, in return, I have a favor to ask you. Go ahead, we'll do whatever we can. You said the seal over the entrance to Ryugu has been lifted, is that correct? It's most likely been gone for several months now. Really? A horrible curse has been swirling around the area where Taishima used to be. It's possible the curse is the curse of the raging waves and surged up from Ryugu once more, now the seal has been lifted. The fact that we were able to open the metal box is proof enough the seal had faded. That would mean the entrance to Ryugu is now open. Well, the situation is quite unstable now, what with the curse of the raging waves seeping in through the entrance. At any rate, what did you want us to do? There's an island called Kamishima that was located quite close to where Taishima once was. There's something I would like for you to do for me there. This request does in fact have some relation to our current conversation. Oh. Okay. Now then, Avi. Huh? You decided to tell Ikoma everything, but I know there's some information you kept from him. Oh, did I? Something from the mermaid's memories. The real way to obtain immortality. That's right, I see no reason to inform him about it. After all, no matter what he may say about tourist attractions, the sky is also after immortality. I saw him straighten up when you talked about the mermaid being tortured, so her captor required more than flesh for immortality. Are you sure? I thought his goal, even if he had one, was to quell the curse of the raging waves. Perhaps there's that too. He even asked us to go to Kamishima and find the still-tide mirror in his stead. He did mention lifting the curse required the mirror as well as the help of the Taishima descendant, right? There's also something about lifting a seal first, but I don't know what that part's all about. I see no harm in quelling the curse, so I say we continue to cooperate for now. Agree, though I do wish we did not have to approach Kamishima at all. The evil atmosphere is nauseating. However, we must consider a possibility that Ikoma had his eyes set on the mermaids in Ryugu. It's possible you may be searching for mermaids like us. I suppose that discussion can wait for later. First, we must find the treasure that the survivor managed to slip out of Taishima. You mean the treasure required in addition to the mermaid flesh when attempting to gain immortality? It's a treasure known as the Tamade Bako. Mermaid flesh is to be put inside and purified by it to have any effect. So provided one has both the flesh of a human mermaid and a Tamabako, then immortality is indeed attainable. Boom. What's a Tamade Bako? box referred to as a relic. Okay. Similar energy. So we need to find a box then, too. We could meet with the Taishima descendant, and we probably provide us with information on the Tamanabako. I can concur. If we get our hands on the Tamanabako, we wouldn't have to worry about a coma. However, it's likely he is wary of us and will keep us from meeting the descendant. At the very least, we know he's cautious enough to keep her name secret. That's why I asked him to hand her a little souvenir. What was all that about anyways? You sure we're not going to need that iron box? I doubt we'll need it again. Plus, you can think of it as a backup plan. Huh? Regardless of what happens, we'll be able to meet with the descendant tomorrow. Let's get our hands on that mermaid treasure. Time to find a Tamadai Bako. Okay. Okay. Oh! Interesting. Huh. Which... Descendant duty and arriving on Kamishina. We're going to do this one, and this is probably going to be the last one we do tonight, just so we're clear. Okay? Avi assumes the descendant of Taishima, whom Akoma knows, has inherited it, and tries to scheme a way to meet them. Hello again. Arnav Barnum's back on the stream. Allow me to summarize. Akoma contacted us today, telling us we need to wait a little longer before we can meet the descendant. Thus, figuring he had no intention of letting us meet her anyway, we decided to use Circe's ability to go looking for the descendant ourselves. Who exactly are you talking to? I'm merely setting the scene. Really feels like it raises the stakes, no? Makes it more like a thrilling adventure. Sure, you got me all worked up. I try to concentrate, so you can please stop distracting me. Alright, go ahead. Okay. Stickers. I don't see anything. Ijika in Toba City. This area is one of the areas known for its amateur divers. Circe is completely focused on dowsing right now. Several types of dowsing techniques, but it seems like she's using a pendulum. It would seem the necklace she wears can be used for such a purpose. The closer you get to the target, the stronger the pendulum swings. Think. Alright. Doesn't have to be familiar. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, she's going to look for the box. Circe was perfectly prepared. She gave the box to the guy, and she's familiar with it, so therefore she can use her shit. Whatever. Basic. Easy. She seems focused. That's not to interrupt her now. Think. Dowsing range is limited with the spiritual energy the iron box possesses. Its range is probably just 2 to 3 kilometers. Narrow down the target area before starting our stretch. An idea where we might start looking for the descendant. I think, said something about her visiting her several times before she finally agreed to talk, didn't he? He did, which would mean that she doesn't live far away. She must live close enough for him to have paid her frequent visits. Yeah. So I think it'd be best to start searching the towns within Toba. I see, but there's quite a few towns in the area, right? When we partied yesterday, Akoma mentioned something else that stuck with me. When he asked me to meet the descendant, he said he'd probably drop by later anyway, since he already also had to handle the matter with Miss Suma. He did say that, so basically, they live close to Suma. He said he would drop by while he was in the area, so he'd likely live close to another. Thinking the same, the towns with many amateur divers are top candidates. Probably start by searching all the towns in Toba that are home to a lot of amateur divers. Make our way up to searching along the coast for starters. Be nice if we at least learn the descendant's name. Might have a lead on that. Think of your research into the past of this place. I believe the name was... Minakushi. 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 Right? It's Minakushi. Where'd you get that? Did I say something? Dodging the question, sly as always. Anyway, what I meant to say was, name of the Taishima survivor. Fucking kill me, man. Okay. Otohime? It's gotta be Otohime, right? Otohime. It's that or, like, Hatsune, right? Where'd you get that? Great. Cool, thank you. Hatsune. It's gotta be Hatsune then, right? Hatsune. Where'd you get that? Fuck off. Oh my god. Okay. Back to the files. Culture and society. I'm gonna die. Okay. Tamarabako. Ryugu. Kuki. Things changed when Kuki correctly raised changing his hides. Went with Oda. Head of the Kuki, Sumitaka. Hatsune. Okay. So, Sumitaka and Kuki? Try Sumitaka. We'll try Kuki real quick. Sumataka. It came back to me. It's Sumitaka. Where'd you get that? Great. Kuki. Might as well try all of them. Yeah, we're kind of there, man. All right. God damn it, dude. I'm losing it. All right. Traditions and history. Taishima, besieged. Yao Bakuni. Maybe Yao? Yao Bakuni. Alright, whatever, man. Oh, great. Awesome. Our reading skills are like top tier, man. And the Haika were the ones that attacked, right? Profiles. Does this have, like, old profiles? Samakawa. It's gonna be like that, right? Samakawa, that's what the Taishina survivor is called. There's many descendants and they still bear the same name. That's right, another clue we can follow. Nice. So we ended up spending the morning traveling on the coast from one fishing town to another. This is the fourth town we searched so far. It's about time we actually find something. So seriously, what's the situation? Want to give it a try? Really, will it still work if it's me? I'll still be holding the pendulum. You can see for yourself if you like. Color me intrigued. That's it. Alright, just like this. I'll hold the pendulum, direct me to move in different directions to see where it reacts. Very well, bring it on. Pendulum won't respond the right way. So once you find the spot where it reacts the strongest, just shout that you figured it out. Okay. think it's like right here. Found it. There, right there. No. Reaction should be stronger than that. Move around too fast, it'll be hard to notice. See how it works. Got it. That's slower. Oh, okay, there we go. There, right there. You got it. So that means it's somewhere up there. Well, maybe still a bit further out, but at least we figured out what direction to go. I knew it was about time we hit the right spot. Let's follow this thing and see where it leads us. Right. This is it. It's the apartment furthest back on this building's ground floor. Got it. Hello, anyone home? Wow, you don't hesitate, huh? Well, we're here on behalf of Mr. Icoma. ... No answer. Guess no one's home. No, I can sense a presence. Hello, we'd like to talk about the iron box. What is it? Oh, you two. Avi and Circe, is it? You're the ones who found that iron box. Yeah, that's right. You know, I've never talked to foreigners before. I'm so nervous I can hardly think straight. Please, no need to be so tense, Miss Samakawa. I promise we're both harmless and cheerful. Right. I'm so glad we got a chance to talk with her. So this is our protagonist that died, his mom, then. She may look calm on the surface, but I know she must be excited to peek inside a traditional Japanese home. A wooden apartment like this seems pretty old school. I can see why she'd be geeking out. Descendant of the last Taishima survivor. The way she dresses make her look older, but I'd probably say she's around my age. Thought she'd be difficult to deal with, but now we've actually met her, I'd say it's more like she's extremely cautious, the type to never let her guard down. Can't begin to imagine the kind of life she's led. Still, the fact she's wearing traditional clothing is actually quite charming. I've hardly seen anyone wearing traditional clothes since coming to Japan, which was quite a shock, to be honest. Think. She was more willing to meet us than expected. The iron box proved more useful than I thought. Nice work, Circe. I'll treat you more onigiri senpai later. Alright. We already talked to her. Talk about Somikawa. Allow me to emphasize what an honor it is to me, a descendant of Taishima. What's to say it's even true? I suppose your family must have lived in this town for generations. I moved here a couple years back. Oh, why's that? Got nothing to do with the two of you. Fair enough. Then you don't mind me asking, do you have any other family or relatives? Why? Apologies, I was merely wondering if there are any other descendants. Dunno, but I'm probably the only one left. That too will come to an end soon enough. Oh, what do you mean by that? No more than what I said. Huh. Interesting. So you live here all by yourself, Miss Somikawa. That's right. Okay. Talk about the iron box. Where exactly did you come across the iron box? I followed this map that was in my family's possession. Supposedly it was left behind by the Onmyoji, who sealed away the curse of Taishima. Yeah, have a good one, Bubble. A map, you say? It led us to the iron box. It must have been resting at the bottom of Issa Bay. Since it's such a valuable artifact deeply connected to Taishima's lost history, we felt that we were absolutely had to tell you about it, Miss Somikawa. Oh yeah? I must say so. I noticed your interest in the iron box. Could it be you already knew of its existence? I didn't know it was a box, but I've been told something still remained of the island. Huh, that makes sense. Speaking of the box, I don't suppose there was something inside. Yeah, inside was a record detailing how Taishima was destroyed, along with the information on the curse of the raging waves. A record? Let me fill you in on the details. He's gonna explain the curse stone shit. That sums it up. Such a horrid man, wouldn't you say? Massacring the people of Taishima because he wanted to find a mermaid that bad. The grudges left behind by the events coalesced in two separate curses, and ultimately, Taishima was destroyed along with everything else. Huh. Sure, it must have been excruciating to hear the tale of how your ancestors' home was destroyed. But I believe the story should be passed down so people can learn Taishima's true history, wouldn't you agree? And that was all recorded in that box? Sort of. Okay. Okay. So she knows that there's a curse stone then. Talk about the box. And what all that was all that was recorded in the box. Okay. Tamadabako. No, we better wait before broaching the topic. If she realized we were after the Tamadabako, it'll only make her more cautious. Talk about legends. By the way, you may consider this a curious whims of a fantasy offer, but would you be able to elucidate me on some of the stories that have been passed down in your family? Now I get it. You also came here because you want to ask about mermaids, huh? You got me. Alright, you got me there, it's true. Can you blame me? As a fantasy author, it's in my blood. If mermaids do exist, I must sate my curiosity. I know it. Whatever your motives, you're not getting the Tamadabako. I'm not falling for one of Akoma's schemes. Ah. You say that Akoma is after the Tamadabako? Oh, you didn't know? Well, he is. That's exactly why he hid it somewhere that no one will ever find it. I see, it must be very precious to you then. I'm relieved that iron box found its way to you then. Huh. So, was there a curse stone inside the box? A cursed what? Don't play dumb, there must have been one. Well, yeah. You already knew about it. There was indeed a curse stone inside. That's what I thought. How about a trade? You do want the Tamadabako, don't you? Oh, a trade. Okay. Oh. I didn't think we'd be going this far out. You certainly shook me when you said we had to take a boat all of a sudden. So this is where Circe met with the detectives and they had that psychic fight, right? The thing to Tamadabako will be hidden at sea. What an incredible plot twist. Oh, my apology. I guess it's just the writer and me coming through. It's too thrilling. You sure can talk. Yeah, believe it or not, I'm actually holding back. I actually can go on great lengths once I get started. That wasn't praise. There's nowhere to run on an island. No matter where you go, someone's always near. It's always too loud, grating on the ears. The sea, though, once you get this far out, it's nice and quiet. Nothing but the sound of waves. No talking, no irritating folk or commotion. Like fish swimming without a sound. This is fine. Stop the boat. Shikigami. This is one of Circe's ability, a Shikigami. When someone's name is written on a piece of paper, she can make that paper fly towards that person. They're great for delivering messages or tracking down someone. I was pretty spooked the first time I saw it, but I've gotten used to it. I did just go, whoa, but not because I was actually surprised or anything. Something wrong? No, it's nothing. Don't mind me. What if something happened to Circe? I better read the note. Let's take a look. Ran into two suspicious people looking for Miss Samukawa. I drove them off for now, but be careful. Seems like something happened on Circe's end. Better stay alert just in case, but I don't think I'll mention this to Samukawa. It'll only shake her up. Okay. Somewhere off the coast of Toba City, accompanied by only the sounds of waves and the cries of seabirds. Did you really hide the Tamadabako here, in a place with no landmarks at all? If it's the bottom of the ocean, how are we supposed to retrieve it? This Samukawa used to be an amateur diver. Could she be planning to go down and get it herself? Just like looking around, seeing if there's stickers, right? Huh. She looks so solemn, I wonder what's going through her mind. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned she still hasn't told me the conditions of our trade. Will she ask me to trade her the curse stone? Talk about the trade. Will you tell me what you want to trade for the Tamadabako now? You got the Forsaken Fish curse stone with you, right? Sure do. Have a good look. The Forsaken Fish curse stone. Looks like the real deal, alright. You want to trade the stone for the Tamadabako, right? I figured as much. I'm fine with those terms. Let's do it. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. Talk about the trade. You know, I once had a sister. Her name was Mare Somikawa. Oh. You had a sister. Does that mean... Yeah, she's gone. Died in an accident at sea about 5 years ago. I see. My condolences. So there actually was another descendant. You folks seem to be pinning your hopes on me because I'm one of those descendants. But the one who actually inherited our duty wasn't me. It was my sister. Your duty? That's right. The duty of the Taishima bloodline. It's been passed down in our family for generations. Even more, our generation would be the one to handle the 400th year since the disaster. My grandpa always said that this was particularly important. There was a duty Taishima's descendants were meant to perform after 500 years. I was young back then. I still had my dreams of my own. I wanted no part in some annoying duty, so I ran away from home the first chance I got. I pushed all the responsibility onto my sister, but I know I should have helped her. I see, so that's why your sister was the one who inherited the duty. Talk about the duty. This duty you mentioned. Was it to break what remains of the curse of the raging waves? I suppose they were connected, but lifting the curse would have been a step along the road, but it wasn't the goal. Oh really? Then what was it? Well, it was to return the mermaid that was left behind in the Issa Bay to Ryugu. That was the real duty of the Taishima bloodline. Return a mermaid? So it's true there really was a mermaid stuck in the Issa Bay because she couldn't return to Ryugu. That's right, her name was Sobe. Oh, she's coming up in her research, so she was real after all. You see, my sister took on the family duty. It seems like she actually met Sobe herself. She got to meet the mermaid? After leaving my hometown and making a living as an amateur diver, I had all but forgotten about the duty I'd left behind. I had no idea what our duty actually entailed. When I finally learned the truth, I was crushed by regret. Regret? Why? You know, ever since I was a little girl, I've always been fascinated by mermaids. Understandable. I read The Little Mermaid so many times the pages of the book began to wear away. I would see them in my dreams over and over. Back then, I wanted nothing more than to become a mermaid. That's what led me to become an amateur diver in the first place. But the true nature of the family duty is only revealed to the one who inherits it. See, what a bitter irony. Couldn't you meet the mermaid after you learned the truth? My sister took pity on me and attempted to call her to meet me once in secret. My sister Mari even shared some of the things the mermaid had told her. But you know, somebody was a cautious mermaid who never truly opened her heart to anyone but my sister. Me, on the other hand, she avoided. I was never even allowed as much as a glimpse. Quite the bitter outcome. Mari and the mermaid had grown close as friends. They trusted each other. They were inseparable. But she never once showed herself to anyone other than my sister, not even a close relative like myself. So she hid herself away for 400 years. Was such a caution really necessary? Your sister must have been an incredible person to earn the mermaid's trust. But I can only imagine how hard it must have been to be rejected by an existence you so deeply admired and longed to meet. Mari moved to Kamishima to be closer to Ryugu, all for the mermaid's sake. And one day she got married and changed her name to Mari Minakushi. She seemed so happy. So she got married in Kamishima. I was so jealous I couldn't think straight and ended up lashing out pretty badly. In an attempt to destroy my sister's relationship with the mermaid, I grabbed our family heirloom and ran off. The infamous Tamadabako, yeah? Yeah, the mermaid was supposed to take it back to Ryugu, so our family had carefully kept it for centuries. And so the years went by, and 5 years ago I heard that Mari had died in an accident. That's why I came back to Toba. I thought that maybe this meant the duty would be passed on to me, of course. But by then our parents and all our relatives had already passed away. There's no one left who knew our duty. There's nothing I could do. I didn't know one thing, not where the mermaid was or how I call her. I'd given up. While I was digging around, that man in coma found out I was a descendant of Taishima. You see, I was struggling to get by. I'd sold the information my sister had told me about the mermaid. Back then, I was making a living by giving folks a glimpse of the Tamadabako for a ridiculous price. That brings us to the present, I suppose. Talk about the trade. Before we discuss the trade, will you take time to listen to my story? Yeah, you're well, I'm listening. In other words, since your sister died in that accident, your family's duty was never fulfilled. Now you want us to go find the mermaid for you? That ain't it. Dang. I guess it must have been about 3 months ago. I was wandering around the coast alone when the mermaid Sobe appeared before me. We finally got to meet her. She told me this. The seal on Ryugu's gateway has been lifted, so I will be returning. Your sister has done a great deal for me. I now ask you to return the Tamadabako. Wait, what? The seal was lifted. Is it perhaps why the curse of the raging waves became active again? So what about the Tamadabako? Did you return it to the mermaid? I was so overcome with emotion and excitement, I told her, I've hidden the relic. If you want it back, take me to Ryugu. You said what? Not being able to fulfill my duty had been weighing heavy on my heart. But in that moment, the pain was gone. On top of that, I feared the mermaid had come to fetch me. Being able to visit the land of the mermaids, there'd be no greater happiness than that. But so many someone told me it wasn't possible and she'd forfeit the relic. And with that, she was gone. Oh. So the mermaid has already returned to Ryugu then. Ever since then, all I felt is despair and regret. I'm completely empty inside. There's nothing left. My family's duty has been fulfilled. That's what I was meant when I said it was all over. But then the Tamadabako still exists, doesn't it? Sure does, but even with such a fancy name, in the end, it's just a grimy old box. I opened it once. And I was hoping there'd be some elixir of eternal youth or something, but it was completely empty. See, even so, I'd still like to trade for it. You're sure I don't see why, but whatever. It's not like anything matters anymore. I'm just sick and tired of it all. Ah. In the end, I never did find out what the Tamadabako really was. The mermaid forfeited just like that, so maybe it never had any meaning to begin with. So what do you want in return? I want to do whatever it takes to become a mermaid. What? This is Somikawa, don't tell me. You want me to use the curse stone? Simply returning to the sea, that's my only wish. Now listen, there is nothing even remotely beautiful about the curse of the Forsaken Fish. All it will do is turn you into some twisted half-fish monster, nothing but a grotesque imitation of a mermaid. I know. That's fine with me. The curse is the essence of that mermaid's power. I'm ready to offer up my life to her. But whatever you do, I'll just be drowning myself anyways. So you won't be dirtying your hands. All you have to do is use the curse. My wish will be granted, and you'll be doing me a kindness. That's all there is to it. So hold on a minute, okay? That's just... Tamadabako is hidden beneath the floorboards of my house. Please do this for me. This is Somikawa, wait! Oh, she's already gone. Will she come back up if I wait long enough? Nowhere to be seen. She is an amateur diver, after all. Is it too late to call for help? Damn, what now? What do I do? Should I grant her last wish? She's right, she was serious about this. She's been dreaming about mermaids since she was little. I know exactly how this feels. It may be a curse, but still, I will honor her wishes by unleashing the mermaid's power. It's how she wanted to go. Maybe the only one who actually understands this is Somikawa's feelings. If I don't act now, it'll be like denying her final hope and dream. I have no other choices. It's just kill her. Ah! Huh. You know what's weird about this? He's using it in the daytime, right? Okay. After that, we managed to quietly retrieve the Tamadabako from beneath the floor in Somikawa's house. All that was left to secure the dream of immortality was to obtain mermaid flesh. Since Sohei had already returned to Ryugu, we placed our hopes on the last remaining mermaid, Nagame. But we had to act fast, otherwise Akoma, or those Paranormal Affairs Bureau psychics, would get in our way. It might have been the after effects of using curse, but I got sick the next day and had to spend a full day bedridden at the inn. How pathetic. That's when I heard news of the two female divers that had gone missing near Toba. The fact I'd been involved in both incidents made me feel even worse. When Circe heard the news, she just mumbled something with an unreadable expression on her face. I had no choice, there was simply no other way. At least that's what I kept telling myself as I struggled to get out of bed. Next day, we set out to gather more information on Nagame and the other mermaids. We traveled to Kamishima, the island where Mare Somikawa, or rather, Mare Minakushi, used to live. Interesting. Neat. That's super neat. So it wasn't actually... His mother is dead. Huh. So I guess, like, the question is, who is Nagame? Is that going to be Sato? No, she was, like, an immortal, right? Weird. Very weird. Definitely have been doing well with the Mockingbirds, though. That's for certain. Well, I mean, that's where I'm going to call it for this session of it, okay? I'm going to call it there for this session of it. All right? The curse of the mermaid will be known. Okay? The curse of the mermaid will be known. They will be horrible. But I hope you all enjoyed tonight. You know, we'll be back to this at some point in the near future. I'm not sure when. But we'll see you then. Remember to follow, and yeah, we have drama tomorrow, but hopefully we'll get some gaming in later on. That's kind of hoping that's what we do in our second stream of the day. So, all right, I will talk to you guys then. Be good.